Some of you graduated from high school. Some have graduated from college. Some have graduated from other programs. So the question is, what's next? So yesterday I was working out. I lift weights. That's my hobby, exercise. And I started thinking, what can I talk about to these young people, these young graduates that are getting ready to enter the world? And a song came on, The Big Three. Anybody know about the Big Three? We're not going to talk about Kendrick Lamar. We're not going to talk about J. Cole or Drake. But the Big Three is the title of this speech. And there are three things I want you all to remember. The Big Three. Now, here are the Big Three, okay? Prayer, preparation, purpose. These are the big three ingredients that can have a big impact on your success. So through this 15 minutes, we're going to identify how these three ingredients can be undeniable instrumentally impactful on you reaching success. Do you want success? Can I get an amen from the graduates? We all want to be successful. That's why we went to school, and that's why we matriculated, and that's why we graduated, right? So what is success, right? Well, we're going to get into that. Let's start with the first of the big three. What's number one? There's a reason for the order. The order is of importance. Prayer. Number one is prayer. All right? So to be successful, you need prayer. All right? So there's certain things that happen in our lives. And basically, when these things happen in our life, we can use them to learn. And what I'm going to do is share some of the events that occurred in my life that helped me learn. And I just had a recent event that was a life-threatening scare. All right? It started out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was in the gym, my favorite place, exercising. That's what I do. I was trying to prove to my buddies I still got it. So I said, I'm going to do 10 pull-ups. So I jumped up there and grabbed it, and my left hand just let go, and I fell. I was like, man, they were like, what happened? I was like, dude, we're not going to do pull-ups today. We're going to do something different. So then I switched over and did something different, and that hand was weak, and I noticed. I said, man, what's wrong with my hand? The next day, I got up in the morning, and I was getting ready to go to the restroom. I put my left leg on the floor, and I just went straight down to the ground. All right? Couldn't get up. I crawled to the restroom and just couldn't get up. I was like, baby, come get me. My beautiful wife, she came and helped me up off the floor. I said, we have to go get checked out. My wife was like, let's go. She went out there and got the car ready, and she helped me get in the car. We went to St. Dominic's Hospital. And when we got in the hospital, the doctor said, we're going to do some imaging. They did an MRI and a CT scan, and they noticed a lesion on my brain. I was overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? They consulted the surgeon, and they had me in a conference room, me and my beautiful wife, and the surgeon walked in, and the first thing he said was, put your head down. I was like, you know what? And then he grabbed my hand, and we started praying together. I knew I was in the right place. We started praying together. And the surgeon, ironically, knew me. He lives in our neighborhood. He said, Quinn, I see you jogging every day. He said, I see you if it's raining, if it's hot, you're out there jogging. He said, because of your fitness, I have a high suspicion that you're going to recover well from this. He said, but we're praying right now because we have to pray that the surgery goes well. All the fitness in the world couldn't guide that man's hands stronger than God. But that was a God-fearing surgeon. And basically, I'm gonna take my hat off and everybody look at my head. I got my little surgical scar. This is my God wound scar to remind me that prayer is so important. After my surgery, I had to go into rehabilitation for physical and occupational therapy. And I noticed that everybody else had different type of scar. Most people on the side of their head. But because of the prayer, the lesion that I suffered was sitting right on top of the top layer of my brain. It was not embedded in my brain. Okay? That was prayer, because all the exercise in the world, the healthy eating, it couldn't control where that lesion was going to be. If that lesion would have been embedded within my brain, the surgery wouldn't have gone so well, and my recovery would have been different. I'm supposed to still be in rehab. They put me in for 2 weeks of intensive care rehab, and after 6 days, they said, we don't have anything to do with you. 24 to 48 hours after the surgery, I got full recovery of my arm and my leg. I did a video. I don't know if y'all ever seen me on TikTok, but I do a lot of dancing. Look at that, Pastor. Hey, that's what's up. People say, why do you dance? Because we're providing healthcare information. And in a lot of cases, when you dance, it makes people relax. People come to the doctor's office and they're very tense. And usually their blood pressure is severely elevated when they first get there. If I get a patient like that, I'll take the chart and I tell the nurse, I say, let's go in there and dance for her. And then they'll put on a little music and then I'll dance and they'll laugh. My dancing is really bad. It's not good. It's not good. But in rehabilitation, they told me that they would help me so that I could dance better. I still don't dance any better. I was dancing all morning, getting ready for the day, just practicing moves in the mirror. My wife was like, go sit down. You still dance like you have no rhythm. I have no rhythm. But the dancing helps people relax. And usually the patient's blood pressure will go down and they're relaxed. And when you talk to them and say, look, we need you to take this blood pressure medicine, you're there. You see what I'm saying? You're there with them. Prayer, you need it. Number 2 of the big 3, preparation. There you go. There you go. Preparation. So let me share an experience, just like the one I just did, that confirms you need preparation. My first experience, I feel like it brought me closer to God, where I wanted to be. Because when I talked to my doctor after the surgery, what he shared with me was, if I would not have come in when I did and not ignored the symptoms, if I would have just said, oh, I'm good, like I did at the gym, he said that lesion would have continued to grow. The inflammation around the lesion would have just pushed your brain, and you could have had something called brain herniation with instant death in about 3 to 6 months. So I feel like God gave me this experience, and I'm going to use this experience to share with my patients to encourage them. If you have something that don't feel right, get it checked out. Don't ignore it. Because most people that lose their life from cancer, cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes, usually they had some warning signs a long time ago and they ignored it. Let's talk about preparation. My wife gave me, she said, move on to the next big 3. Preparation. Let's talk about preparation. Let's talk about me, my experience. How did I learn that you need preparation to be successful? Would you believe that I had a bad experience in high school as far as academics? Made straight C's. 13 on the ACT. I did not prepare. I see my Aunt Yvonne in the audience. She's laughing. She's an educator of 30 years. Let's give her a round of applause. I never studied. I was like a football player. I ran track at Macomb High School. I was like, why prepare? For what? You just go in there and smile and just A, B, B, C, C. They're going to give you a C. I remember on one of my tests, I had to write down how many tackles I was going to make the next season. I mean, I never prepared. But what happened was I took a test called the ASVAB because I wanted to go to college. My mom, who's here today, she shared, when you graduate high school, you're not going to lay up in this house. You're either going to go back and do construction, because she used to make me do construction work in the summers with my uncle. And it was hard work. She said, either you're going to do that or you're going to go to college or the Army. So I wanted to go to college. So I joined the National Guard. And I learned if you join the National Guard, they'll help you pay for college, because I had no finances to go to college, nor grades, no scholarships. I was good in football, but I got an offer to a junior college. I wanted to go to a 4-year, and I went to Jackson State my first year. I got in on academic probation. I see some Jackson State alumni. What's so good about Jackson State is they invest in us. They saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. When I applied, they gave me an admission letter, but I was on academic probation because of my grades in high school. So on that ASVAB test that I took, I must have been a little bit smart. I scored high. I scored to be a medical personnel for the military. And basically, I had to go to boot camp first. That was in South Carolina. In boot camp, I did great. I was one of their top soldiers because I played football in Macomb, Mississippi. It was hot. I ran track. Physically, I was prepared. Graduated at the top of the class in boot camp, the highest scores. I went to AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training with the military. You had to study. I failed every single test. Every Friday night, NCO club. Yeah, that was my first time away from home. And I was free. I didn't have to stay at the barracks. They would give us the material. I never prepared. This was 1990. This was a very long time ago. That was the time of Desert Storm. Desert Storm kicked in, and my unit back in Macomb got deployed. They were going to go to Iraq, and my commander in San Antonio, where I was flunking out, met with me. He said, Quinn, the Army made a mistake. You're not smart enough to be a medic. A medic is like a paramedic, an ambulance driver. He said, you need to be infantry with a gun on the front line. And when he was talking, all I could hear was, you're going to die. I said, sir, can I take the last test that I just failed? He said, we'll schedule it for 4 days. So I went back to the barracks, and for the first time in my life, I prepared for an academic test. I studied the whole 4 days. My boys were like, man, come on, Quinn. I was a perfect wingman. I've always had the gift of gab. Like, if there was like a table of ladies over there, I could go over there to those ladies. Hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Y'all want to meet our friends? Come on, guys. I could always break the ice. That was my skill. Uh-oh. Okay, so that was my skill. I could go over there and break the ice, and I could help us get over there. But what I did was I just studied. I didn't even go to the NCO club. I just studied the whole time. And basically what I did was I took the test in 4 days. I made 100. 100. I studied for the next test. 100. The next test, 100. And I understand the big number 2, preparation. If you prepare and you pray, you can do it. You can do it. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't know if anybody out there has aspirations of going to medical school, nursing school, law school, or getting your CPA, but you have to take standardized tests. And these tests are going to be very, very difficult. I remember with my grandfather, that was a pastor with the Church of God in Christ, we would pray before I take the test. And the more we prayed and the more sincerely we prayed, the more I would see the material I studied the most on the test. So that let me know that preparation and prayer lead to success. So let's go to the last of the big three, which is purpose. Purpose. If you have purpose, then you have a better chance of success. Let's talk about purpose. What is purpose? Purpose is when I was in that hospital bed, I was praying. I was like, God, please let me get back to my patience. Let me get back to my dancing. I would do like that. That old arm wouldn't do right. Oh, God, please don't take away my dance moves. I need them because that's part of the way that I communicate with my patients to encourage them. If you can find out what your purpose is, you'll never work a day of your life. When they let me out the hospital, within 2 hours, I was back at work. Man, when I drove up to that building, that parking lot was packed. There were cars everywhere. And I felt like I was going into a celebration. I walked in, all my staff was like, yeah, he's back. I was like, yeah, baby, let's go. Woo! I had them dance moves by then. That's what you want. I have so many patients that come to me for what's called FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. They don't like their jobs. They don't want to go. They're like, Dr. Quinn, please take me off work for 2 months. I'm like, what are you going to do for 2 months? Just be at home. I told them the worst punishment in the world for me is to not let me go to work. I'd rather be beat. I'd rather be beat to not be able to go to see my patients. I love them. But what you really need to think about is, as far as what your purpose is what do you enjoy? What do you believe in? And see, if you find your purpose, God is going to bless you to manifest it into reality. God is going to bless you to manifest it into reality. Now, as far as me personally, I believe in fitness and I believe in people getting healthier. So what I've done over the last 2 years is I've gone back to school and I had a lot of prayer and preparation and I got a new board certification in weight loss, obesity medicine. So now my practice is focused on helping people reach a healthier weight. I don't know if you all are on Facebook, but we just put a video on Facebook about 2 weeks before I went into surgery. And it's little Boosie would wipe me down. And it's one of my patients. He is so excited. He lost 40 pounds in 3 months. It starts out clean hair. I don't know if y'all like that. That's old school. Everything I say is old school. I know it. My wife is laughing. But the deal is, it feels so good when patients come back and they've lost weight. And I say, you were on all this blood pressure medicine, all this diabetes medicine. We're going to take away some of this medicine. And that heart attack, you'll never see it now, most likely. That stroke, you can beat it. When you're positively impacting the lives of others and you're doing what's good, you're doing God's will. Because you can't tell me that God does not want us to be healthier. And if you can be an instrument, just a tool for God to go out there and help people reach a higher level of health, you're in your purpose. You're doing what God would have you to do. I don't know if anybody's going to go into accounting, but I now have a new appreciation for our CPA. If you own a business or if you work, if you pay taxes, if you live in America, you will pay taxes. If you're a good accountant and you can help your client not go out of business, then you're in your purpose, because God doesn't want your clients to go out of business. He doesn't want that. Because when your client comes back and say, you help me stay in business, then you're in your purpose. If you go into law and someone is accused of a crime they did not commit, but you're so purpose driven in your job as an attorney, and you help that person stay out of jail and stay with their family so they could be there with their children, you're working in your purpose. Pastor Johnson, I followed you for many years. I'm good friends with your brother, Timothy Johnson, who's a dentist that works in his purpose. He went to medical school with me. We're the same age. He's a Q, but I don't hold it against him. And you're working in your purpose, sir, because I'm sure that there are a lot of times that you minister to people that really need to find God. I don't know what bigger purpose there is than to be a minister. That's a God-given purpose. We're going to conclude with the speech, and I hope that everything I've told you all will be helpful as you journey into the next phase of your life. Amen. Thank you so much for having me.